I've got to say, there was so much talk about a frosty reception when Bruno Fernandes met Cristiano Ronaldo recently, but there is an ice-cold focus about these Portuguese players in the warm-up and in the tunnel, as now this is the national anthem for Ghana. The stadium here, the Stadium 974, a temporary venue which is made of 974 recycled shipping containers. 974, incidentally, is the dialing code for Qatar to give it that sense of identity. It's a two-tiered bowl stadium with the royal blue seats, but the predominant colour is the majority red, with just that splash of yellow and green from the Ghanaian support behind the goal away towards our right-hand side. A reminder of the two teams then. Diogo Costa is in goal. Cancelo, Danilo Pereira, Ruben Dias and Rafael Guerreiro is the back four. Ruben Neves of Wolverhampton Wanderers will essentially sit with Bruno Fernandes and Bernardo Silva, Otavio and João Felix, alongside a certain Cristiano Ronaldo, who starts a record-equalling 5th World Cup, joining players such as Carvajal, Lothar Matthäus, Lionel Messi, of course, who did it just a couple of days ago, and Marquez. As for Ghana, well, they've had problems in goal. Jojo Wallacott, the Charlton keeper, out through injury. Richard Ofori, Orlando Pirates, he actually began the qualifying campaign as number one. He's also sitting out with a knee injury. So it means that Lawrence Atizigi comes in for what is his 12th cap, the 25-year-old who plays his football in Switzerland. Daniel Amati, Alexander Djiku and Mohamed Salisu with the three central defenders. And then you've got Alidou Seydou and Baba Rahman as the wing-backs, right and left respectively. Abdul Samed in the centre of midfield alongside Thomas Partey. Mohamed Kudus of Ajax and Andre Ayew, the captain. And Inaki Williams, the 28-year-old forward, whose brother actually Nico is playing for Spain, coming into the side, the Athletic Bilbao forward, for just his 4th appearance. And Ghana are in all white. Portugal are in their red tops and green shorts. And a very good atmosphere at the moment, certainly the vibe that has been created. And BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds were also across Africa on the BBC World Service. It's always a privilege to have your company. And as we were saying just a short time ago to Rahman Osman, the Ghanaian journalist who joined us, Akwaba and Mohiti Singh. So I hope wherever you are in the wonderful country of Ghana that you're keeping fine and well. Matt Upson.
Stop showing off.
It's a wonderful country. I spent a month there in 2008. So many fond memories.
I never knew I was sat next to such a cultured man.
Wow.
Speaking Ghanaian to people. He was delighted earlier and thought that it was an excellent effort.
Yeah. What did he say? It was
well played.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's the best he's heard, apparently.
Yes, yeah, very much, yeah.
Is he just being kind?
Possibly. Anyway, wherever you are in Africa, whether it be Ghana or beyond, the World Service 5 Live and BBC Sounds, we are here. And we're about to get underway for Group H, where earlier, of course, Uruguay and South Korea played out a goalless draw. So there is an opportunity here to strike out and to lay down a marker as far as this group is concerned. And certainly when you look at Portugal, and we've just given you the two teams. If you've missed it, of course, you can always rewind through BBC Sounds. It gives you that facility. But the Portuguese have so much strength in depth.
It's only when you sit down and you start to write down the squad and have a look at options and what have you that you do realise that this squad is equipped to go all the way in this tournament, isn't it? I mean, it's got such quality. The front three, what you can pick from, and that's with, you know, players like Jota, who's not involved through injury. They've got such strength in depth that, you know, that they can be a real threat in this tournament, Portugal.
Portugal then in their red and green tops and the green shorts are playing from left to right as we look, and here is Ruben Dias striding forward and then out to João Cancelo, his Manchester City teammate, of course, on this near side, the right. Ghana are all in white. They're playing with that three central defence, and they're going to have plenty of energy down that right-hand side with Alidou Seydou, who's quite versatile. He can play as a defensive midfielder, he can play across the back four, but he's been put in as that right wing back to try and get forward at every opportunity as Portugal pass the ball out towards Cristiano Ronaldo. And he then commits a free kick with a foul. But straight away, I often have sensed this, being here in Qatar for a number of days now, that they are very much focused on the individuals, you know, the superstars, the Messis and the Ronaldos. And every time Ronaldo touches the ball here, it is going to be he's going to get a cheer every time he touches it. He got it when he came out. He was very thankful and grateful to the support, the reception that he received as he first came out into the stadium.
You really heard the crowd, didn't you, Gav?
Yeah,
as soon as he had
much.
that touch, which, you know, wasn't one of his better touches, to be honest. It kind of just bounced off him a little bit, but certainly, you know, he's spoken about how to be bulletproof. Well, when there's this much there's spotlight on him anyway, but at the moment it's just magnified so much more, that having that kind of concrete head, solid approach is going to be vital for him.
9 appearances in the last 12 months for Cristiano Ronaldo. He's only scored during one in that time, but certainly all of his goals in the World Cup have come in the group stages. He's just too shy of the great Eusebio, as there was just a late challenge there from Baba Rahman, who plays his football at Reading, another loan spell at the Medeski. It's still hard to believe that he's still on the books of Chelsea. His contract expires at the end of the season. This is his 7th loan spell away from Stamford Bridge, where he's made just the 23 appearances, but he just caught Cancelo, and so it will be that free kick that Portugal seeing a lot of the ball. Quite a high line though for Ghana at the moment, as the crowd are just trying to whip themselves up into a little bit of a frenzy here in this stadium. 974 that opened in late November in 2021, the first temporary venue in World Cup history, as the ball is played over the top, and it's for Guerreiro, who's crossed from that left-hand side, goes behind with a deflection, and it will be a corner kick to Portugal, who are very much dominating in these opening 3.5 minutes.
Well, it's just very calm and composed. There's not much tempo to the game, almost just feeling each other out, but Portugal with the ball all the time. And like you mentioned, Ghana were pretty high, but they weren't pressing high up, so the game's been pretty condensed in the middle of the pitch, but they have to be careful. That little ball over the top there just got the other side of Seydou for Ghana on the right-hand side, and got to be careful they don't leave too much space in behind.
Corner kick to Portugal, far side the left, playing from left to right. It's an outswinger, header out, fired back in then by Otavio on the edge of the area, but he pulled it quite badly wide. He was left of the D, hit it right-footed, and it must have gone a good 6-7 yards out. Not really troubling Atizigi in the Ghanaian goal. And he's just going to slow things down. He's just getting a feel of the ball, all in green, as Ghana will play out from the back. The ball straight up to Andre Ayew, very experienced, had Danilo Pereira tight behind him, helped out by Seydou on that far side, the right. Andre Ayew at 32 years of age, sometimes not necessarily a regular in the Ghanaian side. He sat out the playoff against Nigeria in March, but his experience will be invaluable to the Ghanaian cause. His 110th cap for his country, for the 32-year-old midfielder who actually plays his football here in Qatar. 0-0, 5 minutes played. BBC Radio 5 Live, also available on BBC Sounds and across Africa on the World Service, as the clearance is picked up by Cancelo on this near side to Bruno Fernandes with his back to goal, plays it to Neves. Neves to Bruno Fernandes, drifting out towards the right-hand side, looks up and passes the ball to Bernardo Silva, who is probably Portugal's best player at the last World Cup in Russia 4 years ago. João Felix drops deep and now accelerates and runs into space, and it's a strong run, left side pen of the penalty area and dispossessed. Thomas Partey just getting a foot into the challenge, the Arsenal player, but Portugal win it back. Neves shot charged down. It was a good block coming in from Mohamed Salisu, because as soon as Neves won that ball back, he only had one thing on his mind. But Mohamed Salisu, still relatively experienced on the international stage, the Southampton defender, with a very good block, and we're 0-0.
He's good at that, Salisu, though, isn't he? I mean, that's one of the key points about him. He gets his body in the way, really commits as a defender. Sometimes his positioning and decision-making, I think you can maybe catch him out, but in terms of getting blocks in, he's excellent.
Bruno Fernandes swings across from deep inside the Ghana half on the right, and in fact it actually goes out for a throw right over on the far side down by the corner flag. Of course, we're yet to see any African side score so far in this World Cup, so they'll hope it's fifth time lucky after Senegal lost to the Netherlands by 2-0. Tunisia and Morocco got goalless draws against Denmark and Croatia respectively, and then earlier today Cameroon were beaten by 1-0 against Switzerland in Group G. BBC Radio 5 Live. Portugal with Cancelo right side of the centre circle. Neves takes over. Ronaldo drops deep. Very, very central, a cluster of red and green shirts for Portugal, almost as if nobody wants to try and push on that back three of the Ghanaian defence. But
in the same breath, the back five are quite high, aren't they? It's not like they're sat deep at all. So the game's really condensed in that middle third. But nobody's really putting any Portugal player under pressure with the ball. They're now starting to get up the pitch a little bit. But so far, it's been really cagey, hasn't it?
They are playing a high line, though, as Matt Upson says. Matt Upson, of course, part of the England squad, indeed scored at the World Cup in South Africa in 2010. Danilo Pereiro almost getting caught in possession in his own penalty area. Sniffing was Andre Ayew. His brother Jordan is on the bench, as it's then picked up at the back by Alexander Gikou, the Strasbourg defender, and very much in form. He's been a regular in this Ghana side in the last couple of years. Back to Atazigi, the goalkeeper, who controls it right-footed, then hits it long. Andre Ayew up against Danilo Pereira, who loses out in that aerial challenge. And the ball is played out by Abdul Samed to that far side, the right, and Seydou with the cross, and one bounce. So there was a bit of kick off that surface, and it allowed Diogo Costa, who I would imagine now is seen as the number one for Portugal, to claim all in yellow. He's been alternating in the Nations League in the build-up to this World Cup with Rui Patricio, the former Wolves keeper, but he was faultless during the World Cup playoffs against Turkey and North Macedonia, and it would seem now that the Porto keeper, at the age of 23, Fernando Santos, the coach, probably looking towards the future. Here is Neves. Finds Bruno Fernandes, right of the centre circle, out to this near side to Cancelo, midway through the Ghana half, still goalless. Otavio lost the ball in the centre, and the ball is just played on the inside there by Mohamed Kudus. Plenty of Champions League experience from the Ajax player, although he was quite advanced when I saw him for Ajax against Liverpool in that competition earlier in the season here, as it bounces away off his knee and presents a chance for Bruno Fernandes, and the ball is straight through to Cristiano Ronaldo, and the goalkeeper very quickly off his goal line to snuff out that challenge of Cristiano Ronaldo. Excellent acceleration off his goal line, good anticipation, because it was an early ball that was played in. It was he was onside as well, and he just couldn't take it in his stride.
Well, that's really brave goalkeeping from Atazigi. Comes up really well, clatters into Ronaldo. It was such a poor touch from Kudus. Really just bounced off him straight into the midfield. One pass, good move from Ronaldo. He was in on goal. The goalkeeper came out very quickly. I mean, it was a slightly heavy touch from Ronaldo. Would that be a bit critical? He just didn't quite get it under control close enough, did he? Just probably about a metre too far away from him, which allowed the goalkeeper out to get the block in, but great save.
And it was certainly a heavy touch as far as Kudus was concerned as well. It just bounced away off him, never really had full control of it.
He tried to control the outside of his boot, didn't he? The ball was fired into him. He tried to control it with the outside of his foot. It was a difficult ball to to take in that way. And bounced it straight back into midfield.
Salisu just over the halfway line to Rahman on this near side. He loses the ball and Portugal go back to Ruben Dias, who chips it forward. Otavio heads it forward. I was probably expecting Otavio to play a little bit further out, but he seems to be quite central at the moment, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's playing very central. I thought he'd be wide of the three, maybe on the right-hand side.
As it is, it's Bruno Fernandes who's playing in that position.
Yeah, with João Felix more on the left, isn't he?
Danilo Pereira, a little drag back by João Felix, but unable to get on the end of it was Guerreiro. And they've seen it back to the keeper, and Atizigi with the clearance, laid back to Kudus, out to Andre Ayew on the halfway line, turns, all in white. The Black Stars playing from right to left here. 11.5 minutes played. As Samed in the midfield.
He started well, hasn't he?
He
Samed,
has.
he's made a couple of good passes. Looks very confident with the ball.
No foul on Partey. Portugal win the ball back. João Felix standing still. Little flick back to Guerreiro. Almost doubling up on that left-hand side. Ball now played on the inside. Here is the little turn from Otavio on the edge of the area, and then a nonchalant little lob ball out towards the left. Bruno Fernandes, nice little touch. Guerreiro left-hand side with a cut-back, cut-out, and behind for a corner kick. Portugal again threatening. Good defending coming in from Giku.
Oh, you're going to see a lot of this from Portugal this evening. You really are. I mean, they've just got players that love triangles, ones and twos all over.
And they've taken that corner quickly, and arriving at the far post was Cristiano Ronaldo, and he couldn't get the meaningful touch with a header. Just too far over him, and out it goes for a goal kick, 0-0.
I'll tell you what, his expression says it all, though, Deno. He's not happy. He hasn't made better contact with that. He gets up so well, doesn't he? It's almost just a little bump from Salisu. I mean, to time that run in his leap is incredible, but he doesn't really commit to the header, doesn't really punch that ball. I think he knows if he just really commits to that, he gets that on target. He's such a good header of the ball, but he just doesn't get the contact. But his run and jump was absolutely brilliant.
He climbs so high, doesn't he?
Unbelievable for a 37-year-old. And his timing. You know, he had those 1 or 2 strides on Salisu there. If you have a couple of strides onto a player, 9 times out of 10 you're going to get up and above them. It's all about that timing, and he just reads the flight of the ball so well.
I remember one time when I was first starting out in my broadcasting career, and I said, oh, it was he hung in the air, and my editor said, well, you can't hang, you're either on the way up or on the way down. And yet Cristiano Ronaldo, when he does climb so high, he does seem to hang in the air.
He gets hang time.
Matt Upson with us, 14 minutes played, 0-0. As the ball is played back.
It's quite a bizarre matchup, though, isn't it? Maybe that's where the game... I don't think the game quite knows how to get itself going yet. You've got two very contrasting styles, haven't you, and attributes in teams. I think both teams are just figuring themselves out at the moment.
And certainly it seems that Ghana are quite happy to concede possession and not go chasing too much as the ball is played out towards that far side, the left. Seidu will look to try and close down Guerreiro, who comes on the inside. Now he decides to harass him and challenge him. Neves is behind him in some support. Central area, Bernardo Silva shuffles the ball back along the ground towards Neves, who goes square. Otavio looks to roll away from the challenge, but it's won back well by Kudus in the midfield. I don't think that Ghana are phased here by taking on these Portuguese players. They've got a lot of experience.
Yep.
Of players who've played at the top in Europe. You know, they're going to look to Kudus, they're going to look to Thomas Partey, and of course the experience of Andre Ayew.
I think you also have to accept a little bit as well that you're going to be without the ball for a period of time. When you look at Portugal's team, that technically they're just so gifted. And you mentioned about positions, about writing them down where they're going to play. This front five or so will just drift all over. They'll just find space. You'll have the freedom to roam. Yes, out of possession, they'll take their shape. But when they've got the ball, expect Bernardo Silva, Fernandes, João Felix, just to pop up anywhere, really.
Well, certainly just to put it in context, what the challenge is for Ghana as the ball is played forward and just a little bit too far ahead of Inaki Williams as he had tried to beat the offside trap. It might have just got a little touch away, and if it's from his right foot and through towards Costa, the goalkeeper. But Ghana are the lowest ranked team competing at this World Cup. They are the least experienced squad, with a combined tally of 483 caps. And then, when you think of that 483, take away the 109 previously for Andre Ayew, and then Jordan Ayew with his 84, and that then just goes to show as well how much those two have given weight to that tally of 483 in this, the Stadium 974. And you might well indeed be listening on medium wave or the good old wireless of 909 and 693. But of course the future is BBC Sounds, and if you haven't got yet the app, then do so, because you can listen to the commentary, the World Cup Daily, and plenty of World Cup material. And for somebody who didn't do well at maths, that'll be enough for the numbers tonight, I think. 0-0, which is the most important digits of all, as we've been playing for 17 minutes. Bruno Fernandes to Cancelo on this near side. The return ball from Ronaldo, easily seen there first by Salisu and cut away, but that loose ball is picked up by Cristiano Ronaldo. Back to Bruno Fernandes, who spreads play from the right to the left-hand side. Guerrero running forward. Otavio has now gone out wide on that left-hand side. João Felix has gone central. Bruno Fernandes is just outside the penalty area, and lurking ominously is Cristiano Ronaldo on the edge of the box as the ball is played out to Cancelo. Bernardo Silva makes a run. It's an arcing ball in. It's headed away by Salisu. And then Kudos. Again, it went away from in the first touch, but he won that next duel against João Felix. His forward ball is taken on now by Thomas Partey, who plays the ball out towards this near side. And it's kept in play. And then the return ball from Thomas Partey, who was getting forward, was just a fraction too far ahead of him from Baba Rahman.
He looks sharp though, Kudos, doesn't he? I mean, he's got this turn of pace. Even if he does have a slightly heavy touch, his reaction to go and get it again it's so explosive. He's got a lovely left foot on him, and I think he's that kind of dynamic player that might be a little bit, unpredictable at times, but can certainly be super effective.
Certainly one of the more creative players, should we say. Of course, Everton wanted him in the summer, and he wasn't allowed to leave Ajax, and there was that sense of disappointment. Anyway, he's got his head down, he's focused once more on helping out at the Ajax cause, and 9 goals he scored for the Dutch club during the campaign so far. Neves far side the left, 10 yards in from the touchline, switches play to this near side the right. Cancelo plays it forward, coming across was Otavio, and then Cancelo plays the ball back, and it's a lot of the ball. It's a good pace, not a quick pace, but it's still a decent pace from Portugal playing at the minute, stringing the passes together, and therefore Ghana have got to be extremely patient, as you might be able to hear in the distance a block of the Ghana support swaying from side to side with the yellow, the red and the green, and the flags are flying with a black star in the middle of that yellow stripe on the national flag.
They've got to try and get hold of the ball as well, though. I mean, it's hard to go a full game playing like this against a team of this quality. Sooner or later, just that little lapse of concentration. I mean, possession-wise, it's just incredibly one-sided at the moment. Ghana just sat off. Portugal have got the ball the whole time, just probing little bits of movement. I just think the longer the game goes, you're just going to get more and more opportunity for Portugal to get the ball in key areas.
Quick free kick has been taken for Portugal midway through the Ghana half. Neves finds Ruben Dias inside the centre circle, and then he goes square to Danilo Pereira, and back with Ruben Dias. Cancelo on this near side on the halfway line. Ghana decide just to press, 3 players breaking out. Samed in the midfield, Rahman the left wing back, and Inaki Williams who leads the line, and it forces Portugal back as the ball is hit now long by Danilo Pereira, and then it's a cushion header forward, and then just able to turn, and the ball is now with Salisu. That was Daniel Amate, who plays on the right side of the 3, and just trying to usher Seydou to go a little bit further out wide to give him maybe an option as a right wing back, as now it's on this near side for Djiku to bring the ball forward. Danilo Pereira heads it out towards Guerrero, the left back. Nuno Mendes, who's been a doubt leading up to this World Cup. Paris Saint-Germain, the outstanding left back, He had a hamstring injury in early October against Benfica in the Champions League. So for Nuno Mendes, just not wanting necessarily to take a risk on him. That's where we talk about the strength in depth. I mean, Diogo Dalot, who's had a decent season for Manchester United, unable to start. They've got the experience of Pepe and William Carvalho, João Palhinha, Mateus Nunes, two players you might have seen for Fulham and Wolves in the Premier League. Rafael Leao of Milan. I mean, they have got so many options, Matt.
You've just gone through the goalkeepers as well. I mean, the strength of the experience they have in goal, all over the pitch. I mean, I think defence is an interesting thing to look at in this tournament in terms of what teams are really looking solid in a back four. We saw Germany the other night, and we've seen other teams, and you look at Portugal and think this Portuguese back four actually does have real potential to be very solid. Like you say, you've got great strength at left back position. You've got Cancelo, Ruben Diaz, really good defenders playing at top clubs in Europe and some in the Premier League, and put it all together, it should be something special.
Kudus with the forward ball, just came to him quite quickly, but he just opened up his body, hit it short forward, left-footed with a pass towards Inaki Williams, but quickly just squeezing like a vice-like grip at the back of that defence, snuffed out the opportunity. Otavio scoops it forward for Portugal, comes off the head of Daniel Amate, runs out to João Felix, left corner of the area. Back with João Felix once again, and the cross took a deflection there, and it's gone out of play for a goal kick.
Do you not find when you see the likes of Fernandes, Silva, João Felix, when they all start getting together and linking in play, it's like a five-a-side, isn't it? They're like flicking the ball up in the air, scooping it over someone's head. It's quite hard to do, you know what I mean? It's like to defend against you. You just got to not overcommit, I think, and that is exactly what Ghana are not doing. They're not getting too tight. They're not being robust. They're not actually being too physical with Portugal in this game so far. They're just being cautious, not committing, and just waiting and see what Portugal do.
Well, of course, if they were to get a point, that would be a great result for Ghana. South Korea on Monday is their next match, and then I am sure that everybody, whether it be here in Qatar or back home in Ghana, will be fired up for the revenge match against Uruguay a week tomorrow for their final group game. When you think back what happened in South Africa in 2010, and Luis Suarez with his handball on the goal line, which would have prevented a certain winner in extra time, you would have thought, and then Ghana would have been the first African side to reach a World Cup semi-final. So they will have certainly plenty of incentive a week on Friday. The incentive now is to try and keep this Portuguese side at bay, and midway through the first half, they have restricted Portugal to very few opportunities. I mean, there was only the far post header for Ronaldo that I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, and the mistake which Ronaldo had, the one-on-one goalkeeper came out. I mean, that you can see a lapse in concentration or a poor touch or something technical like that is going to open the door to Portugal. If Ghana can be focused, they've got away with one already, but if they can be focused and be disciplined and not make those mistakes in key areas of the pitch, then Portugal are going to have to step it up to really try and open them up.
Here is Cancelo at a walking pace to Danilo Pereira, out to the left-hand side. Bernardo Silva just in from the touchline now, midway through the Ghana half. It's still 0-0 if you're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live between Portugal and Ghana. Forward ball, Bruno Fernandes had made the run, but it was a long, diagonal, searching ball, one bounce, and away from Bruno Fernandes and out for a goal kick that Ghana again takes short. Played out towards the right-hand side for Daniel Amate. He goes long along the ground towards Andre Ayew, pushes the ball back, and then in fact Seydou has gone down with a blow to the head there. And so just checking on him will be the American referee Ismail Elfaf, who's just going to make sure that he is okay. By the way, with all the football that we've got for you, we've still got another commentary for you to come tonight. Brazil, many people's favourites for this competition against Serbia. That's a 7 o'clock commentary, and in fact for that game you can watch that with 5 Live commentary. Just look for the World Cup Extra on the BBC iPlayer. And with another 4 games tomorrow, including Wales and England, and then another one on Saturday. But we've also got boxing for you this weekend. In and amongst all the football, 5 Live boxing returns on Saturday. Dillian White against Jermaine Franklin at Wembley. Coverage from Saturday night at around 10:15. But this is the World Cup. Every game live on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. And when Mark Chapman said yesterday it's either feast or famine, and we've had a goalless draw already, Uruguay, South Korea. Just the one goal in Group G between Switzerland and Cameroon. And at the minute it's 0-0. We are still awaiting the first goal in this game as the ball is played forward, and Cristiano Ronaldo was challenged by Zico. The referee plays the advantage. Bernardo Silva out towards Guerrero. First time cross from the left-hand side. Flying header away by Daniel Amate. Seydou on that far side, goes short, diagonal ball, looking to try and turn, almost caught there as Portugal press, back with Daniel Amate towards Partey. It's a bobbling ball on the edge of his own penalty area. He was being hunted down there by 3 Portuguese players, but he wasn't phased, got it back to Atizigi, the keeper, who cleared long.
Well, they're not panicking at all, are they? Under real pressure from Portugal, trying to press and win the ball back in the attacking third, but Ghana keeping their composure. Maybe a little bit risky at times. I mean, Thomas Partey, obviously very experienced player in receiving the ball on the edge of his own box and with his back to play, knowing what's coming. But like I said, we've seen it once, but you just feel that a little lapse there or a loose touch and Portugal are going to be right onto it.
Sometimes there can be slow starters, Portugal, in a World Cup. Their record at games in their opening fixtures not necessarily great as the cross comes in from Bernardo Silva. And in fact, 2006 was the last time that they won their opening fixture. It was against Angola. 1-3, drawn 2 and lost 2 is their record before today. Cancelo with the cross over the head of João Felix, kept alive by Bernardo Silva, pulls it back, and João Felix leaning back just inside the penalty area, central position, left-footed, couldn't keep it down into the Ghanaian support behind that goal kick 0-0.
Surprised he took it first time there, to be honest. I mean, it was a nice cut back from Bernardo Silva, picks it up at the back post, sees João Felix drop onto the edge of the 18-yard box, but his body weight is already shifting away from the box as he's tried to hit and swivel and hit it first time with his left foot. Really difficult, leaning back a bit as well. If he had a touch, I think he had time to have a touch actually, probably could have set himself for a better strike on goal.
Certainly João Felix, and in fact I was with Chris Sutton when he made his debut in Porto in the Nations League 3 years ago against Switzerland. Sometimes I can't help but feel that he hasn't necessarily hit the heights yet on the international stage. I mean, 3 goals in 24 appearances so far. Still waiting for him to maybe blossom. Absolutely.
I think, hugely talked about and the talent, but no, I agree. He's not really made his mark yet on this level with Portugal.
£113 million he left Benfica to Atletico Madrid, and only 3 goals in his 17 appearances for the Spanish side this season. Ghana are forward. Rahman, low ball in from his left wing-back role midway through the Portuguese half. That's a good header forward by Salisu, but it's played forward by Neves. And as maybe now those white shirts of Ghana had gone forward, it might give an opportunity for Portugal to try and get forward. And as it's played into Bruno Fernandes, he goes down under a challenge from Abdul Samed in the midfield. The American referee, I don't think he's going to take any action against the Ghanaian midfielder, but he will give a free kick to Portugal.
Well, I think he's pretty lucky there, Abdul Samed, to be honest. I think it's quite a clumsy foul. He's not aware that he's got Raymond recovering for him, otherwise he didn't need to foul him, but he certainly blocked Bruno Fernandes. Really cynical. Referee was right there. He's chosen not to book him, which is good for him, because I think he'll have a few more of those situations as this game goes on.
Decent atmosphere though inside the stadium. I know some of them have been a little bit flat, but this one with the horns and the constant beat of the drum.
You had a bit of atmosphere outside the ground as well, Dino, didn't you?
Certainly did, yeah.
Thought you were going to drop a few dance moves at one moment with the Ghanaians.
My love for Ghana doesn't extend to my dancing. I wouldn't inflict that on them. Half an hour played. Free kick to Portugal. You're listening to 5 Live. It's a long, flat, diagonal ball by Bruno Fernandes. Neves is up against 2 players, and it's going to be cleared away by Seydou on that far side. He was being helped out by Inaki Williams, as Andre Ayew currently leads the line for Ghana. Ball then is hooked back into the direction of Cristiano Ronaldo, who turns away from his man. Cristiano Ronaldo puts the ball in the back of the net, but the referee has already ruled it out for offside. And it would have been a record-breaking goal for Cristiano Ronaldo, and there is a dismissive wave of the hand from a scowling Ronaldo, who is adjudged to have fouled Gikou. In the build-up to that goal, there was a nudge from him, and in fact it's not even going to be looked at by VAR because play is already underway.
Does that look a bit soft to you? It was just not a lot in it from Ronaldo, was there? I mean, you'd expect Gikou to really stand his ground there. I think he kind of almost bought that foul a little bit, went down very easily. There was a push from Ronaldo, but it was a little bit of a kind of 50-50 shoulder-to-shoulder shrug kind of push from Ronaldo. I can see why he's a little bit frustrated with that. I
thought that Alexander Gikou just lacked a little bit of strength. I mean, well, you tell me, you're the former central defender.
You'd expect him to stand his ground there and actually deal with it, to be honest, and be able to hold Ronaldo off and deal with the ball, but he just went down really easily once Ronaldo put his arm across him and shoved him. And the referee obviously looked at that and saw it as a foul, but I wasn't sure if there was that much contact.
He's fired up, and he might be fired up even more, Cristiano Ronaldo, as this time even stops playing because he knows he's got the free kick. Of course, he's dominated the headlines with his contract being terminated by Manchester United. So without a club, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo now, but desperately will be wanting for what will be at 37, you would think, his final World Cup appearance. I know Roger Milla went on to the age of, 42? Cristiano Ronaldo, where will he be? Well, where will he be in 4 days' time or 4 weeks' time, let alone 4 years' time? 32.5 minutes played, 5 Live and BBC Sounds, 0-0. Portugal and Ghana here, 5 Live at the World Cup. Free kick, Bernardo Silva and Bruno Fernandes are the two to take it. Bernardo Silva walks away. It's Bruno Fernandes. It was aimed towards the head of Danilo Pereira before it was headed away by Andre Ayew for a looping header and out for a Portugal corner kick far side. Goalless.
Well, this is where it's going to be interesting as well. The organisation from Ghana to deal with any kind of set plays, just making sure they're switched on, taking responsibility. It'd be interesting if Portugal do play it short, which they do very quickly.
Corner's taken short left-hand side. Now it's played back. Flat ball comes in, good handling from the goalkeeper at Izigi. Came off his line, had to go a little bit towards his left-hand side, but it was a good two-handed take. Underarm throw out to Rahman, who now gets the ball back on this near side from Abdul Samed.
I never see too much point in playing the corner short and then crossing it from that position. I don't quite get that. I mean, I think it's, from a defender, you're already coming out, and it's probably easier to defend that cross than it is one direct from the corner flag.
Former England international defender Matt Upson offering the insight on the art of defending. It's just over 10 minutes to go to half-time, and it remains 0-0. But Portugal have certainly dominated with the possession.
It must be unbelievably weighted towards Portugal, the possession. I mean, Ghana have rarely had the ball, only on turnover and breakaways, and then it's straight back to Portugal, and they just continue doing their thing.
62% possession. Here is Ronaldo turning midway through the Ghana half. Kudus, though, dispossesses Neves with a sliding challenge, plays the ball out towards Seydou on that far side, the right. He'll go back to Daniel Amate.
Have you noticed with their stats, they do like a in-between where the ball's out of play, don't they? I saw that the other night.
Oh, right.
So it's not a clean 100% split between each team. So it's quite interesting on some of them, because it would be more than 60%, wouldn't it?
Yeah, in fact, that would explain why the possession control for Ghana's at 29%.
Yeah, you said your maths wasn't that great.
I know that's wrong. 0-0.
Any more numbers?
No.
974.
Yeah. Do like, though, I didn't realise until I was told last night that that was the national dialing code for Qatar. Often wondered why it was 974 shipping containers that had been used as in the construction of this stadium.
It's pretty incredible, isn't it?
That will be dismantled, a 40,000 capacity after the World Cup. Otavio floats it forward. Good defending by Amate to head it away. He looked offside, did Ronaldo, but again he was just lurking behind Amate. Felix, central position, checks off the ball. Shot comes in from Otavio, but it's along the ground, right-footed, edge of the area, and again comfortably claimed by the goalkeeper. And I don't think there've been too many scares for Ghana.
No, not at all. Portugal haven't really got into their rhythm. They're not really threatening as much as what you'd expect. They're lovely to watch. When you see them play those little triangles, like I mentioned earlier, it's like a five-a-side type football, isn't it? Scooping the ball over people's heads, playing little 1-2s, trying to nutmeg people. It's very clever, but it hasn't produced much in this game so far. And if Ghana are patient and they don't buy into it too much and overcommit, they're going to have to ask something a little bit different of Portugal.
Well, they've been whipped up now. The Ghanaian support away towards their right-hand side as they look down the field and we look towards our left. Ghana have got themselves a corner. I think initially Seydou thought it was a throw until the assistant referee instructed that no, it was a corner kick. He was preparing to take a throw down by the corner flag, and now running across is Kudus to take the corner. Portugal have got everybody back. What can Ghana do at this set piece? 0-0, 5 live. Kudus, in-swinger, headed out of the near post by Neves for Portugal. Back to Kudus with the cross. It's a good ball in as well, and it comes off the head of Bruno Fernandes and behind for another corner kick, except this time it's on this near side that Ghana left.
He's got a nice left foot. Kudus really whips it in well. It's a good delivery, a great opportunity for Ghana actually just to show their physicality a little bit and put Portugal under pressure, which they haven't been in this game at all in terms of defending their box.
Gikou is up from the back, Salisu is there, Kudus now waits on the edge of the area. It is going to be Baba Rahman to take this corner kick on this near side, the left, all in white, playing from right to left, so it's going to be an outswing with his left foot. In it comes now, Andre Ayew, beaten in the air by Cristiano Ronaldo. Seydou down into the ground, headed away by Ruben Dias. Danilo Pereira complaining, and in fact the referee spotted an infringement for that challenge on the very experienced Paris Saint-Germain player, and it will be a free kick to Portugal with 6 minutes to go to half-time.
I think there was too much wrong there, to be honest. I think it was Salisu just went into the back of him a little bit, Danilo Pereira. There wasn't too much contact, he wasn't too happy. It's more his own teammate, I think, shoved Salisu, and his momentum just bumped into the back of him, but the referee was happy to give the foul.
Here is Pereira, out to Guerreiro, far side the left, midway through the Ghana half. Back to the bald-headed Danilo Pereira, Ruben Dias inside the centre circle, every white shirt back behind the ball. Kudus snaps into the challenge, Rahman keeps the ball in play, but Portugal now have it. Cancelo's overrun it though, and now with Kudus, whose nice little touch towards Inaki Williams, and Kudus, it was just as the return ball, again too far ahead of him, and he actually never bothered chasing after it because he'd seen that Danilo Pereira was there to mop up for Portugal. Neves looking for the run of Bruno Fernandes. He's hit a ball through the middle. Bruno Fernandes with his thumbs up applauds the idea, but it goes out of play for a goal kick as the 68-year-old Fernando Santos, the coach, is just rubbing and scratching his forehead.
I mean, it's good to see them go a little bit more direct there, and Bruno Fernandes to make that run from out to in and look to get behind, because at the moment they're just not stretching Ghana. Ghana know that they've got these lovely technical players that have the ball to feet, drop into the pocket, play around the edge of the 18-yard box, but no one's really stretching them in behind at all or really asking any of those questions, and it's a little bit comfortable at the moment.
Ball on that far side for Guerreiro, into João Felix. Neves is free now, central position. The red and green shirts of Portugal play the ball out towards the left-hand side. Bernardo Silva, low ball, easily cleared away by Gikou at the heart of that defence for Ghana, and it'll be played back by Danilo Pereira towards his goalkeeper. Tomorrow, of course, 4 more games, and it includes Wales-Iran at 10 o'clock, and then England, the United States at 7 o'clock. So the build-up from 9 in the morning after Rick and Rachel with 5 Live breakfast. Rick Edwards, of course, out here in Doha. Mark Chapman will take over at 9 in the stadium where we'll be watching Wales against Iran. And then at around 3-ish, it's I think it's quite a loose arrangement, bearing in mind of the travel. You never know when Lady Kelly will decide to turn up, but then she'll be joined by John Murray, Rob Green, Micah Richards and Jermaine Genius ahead of England, the United States from 7. And in between, Qatar, Senegal, Netherlands, Ecuador at 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock respectively. 4 minutes to go to half-time. Ball through the middle towards João Felix. Headed away. Now they get it forward towards Cristiano Ronaldo. Listen to the excitement inside the stadium as Ronaldo picks up the ball, left-hand side of the penalty area. The return ball to Cristiano Ronaldo, who shoots, and the block coming in from Daniel Amate, and it was a good block too. The crowd certainly came alive there for the presence of Cristiano Ronaldo. They've come to see just one man. Here is Bruno Fernando with a cross that's over the head of Ronaldo. It might fall still to the feet of Ronaldo. He toe-ends the ball towards João Felix, who goes down, but the free kick goes in favour of Ghana, and it remains 0-0.
I think Ronaldo knew the ball was at his feet there. I think it just ricocheted down to him from the cross. Bruno Fernandes got his head up with that right foot, just curled one to the back post, tried to get level back square, and it got kind of jammed between Ronaldo's feet. Didn't quite know where the ball was. It was bouncing around in the 6-yard box.
You don't think that Al Sadd, who the team that Andre Ayew plays for here in Qatar, the supporters have descended upon this stadium. They're trying to send as much love in the direction of Ronaldo to try and sway him to think that he could play his club football here.
Well, it could be an option, couldn't it?
You do wonder where he'll go next.
Absolutely.
Though,
I mean, that is the difficult thing for him, I suppose. You are potentially limited, aren't you? It depends what he wants, Demo, really, doesn't it? And how he sees the last few years of his career playing out and what he wants to achieve.
Will he go stateside? Will he go to a club competing in the Champions League? Will he go east? Time will tell. As Ruben Neves, as we edge our way towards half-time, and it is still Portugal 0, Ghana 0 in this game in Group H in this 2022 World Cup. Live on 5 Live. João Felix went to ground. Challenge came in from Andre Ayew. Kudos, good footwork by Kudos. Good strength too until he's hauled to the ground and gets a free kick for Ghana. He had very little support and very little options.
I mean, that is exactly what he's all about, this lad. He can react on anything, use his body, nutmeg people, twist and turn out of situations that he's got no right to come out with the ball, to be honest. And like you said, he's got this turn of pace and a little bit of a physicality where he just holds players off, does it really well.
Abdul Samad has given the ball away. Now it's with Bernardo Silva to Cancelo, back to his Manchester City teammate. Comes inside, left-footed short pass, standing still was Bruno Fernandes, out to Cancelo, fires over the cross. There were 5 white shirts back inside the penalty area. It goes through the penalty box, collected by Guerrero. João Felix to Neves, 30 yards out, passes the ball now to the right corner of the area. Cancelo waits for the ball to settle, touched it towards Otavio, and the cross then from a tight angle on the right-hand side of the box, 6 yards up, diagonally goes over the top of the crossbar and out for a goal kick. And with 50 seconds remaining well, we'll wait to see how much added on time there will be, but it's still 0-0.
It's all a little bit, again, just in and around and outside the 18-yard box, almost like a horseshoe around that box, the way Portugal are just moving the ball one side to the other, trying to find that little opening, but Ghana just sticking to their guns, being pretty disciplined. You have to say the back three, they're doing their job, they're locking in, they're coming out and getting blocks at the right time and making Portugal work hard for that opening.
Also, Ado, the 47-year-old coach of Ghana, who actually won his 2 games as a player in the 2006 World Cup, has certainly made his side hard to break down here for Portugal, as there's going to be a yellow card there to Kudus for a high boot and catching Cancelo.
That was a really high boot, actually. Kudus didn't need to go for that. It's up the top end of the pitch for him. He's got a yellow card. but it was a bit ambitious for him to try and steal that ball. He really did raise his foot quite high, and Cancelo kicked right through the bottom of his studs.
Chris Hughton, of course, is also part of the Ghana setup, the technical advisor. Very experienced, the 63-year-old, former Republic of Ireland international. As the ball forward on the left-hand side, and that was a foul by João Felix on Seydou. So it'll be a free kick in stoppage time. And rather refreshingly, just 60 seconds to be added on here. Sometimes you can never tell with the added on times with some of the fourth officials.
I was expecting at least 5 minutes. I don't think I've ever seen so much added on time in matches, just consecutively, isn't it? I mean, to be fair, there has been quite a lot of injury, a few quite bad concussion-related injuries as well, hasn't there, which always do take quite a bit longer.
Ball hit long then. That's Matt Upson who's with us here inside this stadium. One bounce and through to Costa. Portuguese keeper underarm throw out. Bernardo Silva then dropping back inside the D of his own penalty area, and I'm sure that the American referee can't be playing much longer. He's having a little look now at his not once but twice as he's on his left wrist. But play continues, and it's with Bruno Fernandes. Over the halfway line he comes. Now to Cancelo is ahead of him. In fact, they've changed it. They've changed it from 1 minute to 2, I notice. As indeed there is the half-time whistle. And again, a few chances, but certainly this will suit Ghana, the lowest ranked team at the World Cup, denying Portugal, and a scowling Ronaldo will maybe wonder about the goal that was disallowed, Matt Upson.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's had the best chance for sure, and maybe probably should have scored, if I'm honest. I think the ball came to him, his touch was a little bit heavy, which allowed Atizigi, the goalkeeper for Ghana, to come out and make a good save. But really, in honesty, Ghana have been pretty comfortable, more comfortable than what I think they would have expected, and it'll be Portugal that will be going into the dressing room right now, sitting down, having a chat with each other and going, we need to come out and we need to inject a bit more energy into this performance, a bit more physicality, a bit more directness at times. It's very pretty, you've got lovely players with the ball, but they need a bit more cutting edge.
And Kelly, the Ghanaian players actually haven't gone off the field of play. They've just had a team huddle in the centre of the pitch, just spoken a few words and are now breaking from that huddle as they trundle off the pitch, whereas Cristiano Ronaldo, he was straight away down that tunnel, not happy with that disallowed goal at all. Portugal 0, Ghana 0 at half-time.
Dano, thank you very much. And as you've both been saying, Matt, this will be a first half that Ghana will be happier with. But when we think of Ghana, and a lot of the talk in the build-up was about their amazing fans, the dancing and the energy that they bring to any World Cup that they're at. It's not the same type of football that they play on the pitch. We don't necessarily see... I mean, the support would seem to suggest that the football would be exciting, front foot, kind of bouncing football. And it isn't like that. No. And
if I'm honest, it's a completely different game to what I was anticipating as I was coming to the stadium today. I was thinking about how it might play out. And what you've described there is what I was picturing, Kelly. I was picturing, Ghana being a bit more high octane, smashing into some tackles early on, maybe a couple of bad fouls and really getting the game up and running. It hasn't been like that at all. They've almost kind of just sat in position and gone, well, go on then, Portugal, let's see what you got. You've got to move us, you've got to take us out of position. And tactically, they've actually been really calm. And that's something that you can often look at and say, well, I'd expect them to be a little bit more adventurous maybe, or a bit more high octane, I think is the word, in terms of the energy into the game. But they've just been really patient. They've got a couple of key players that can unlock and can do good things. Kudus looks unbelievable when he gets out of little situations. And at the moment, they must be really happy with their performance in the first half.
Matthew Upson then at the 974 Stadium for that game. Dion Dublin here in the studio. Dion, neither side's really able to bring their star players into this, their most exciting attacking players into this game.
It's kind of stagnant. It's quite slow. I don't know. I was expecting 1 and 2 touch from Portugal, expecting a few little triangles down the left-hand side and the right-hand side, and I was expecting more power, more control on the physical side of the game from Ghana, but I've not seen anything from either. The 45 in the second half has got to do a lot better than the first. It was a little bit slow, a little bit laborious, and they're both better than that, so hopefully second half will be better.
Yeah, they'll be hoping that there will be improvement in the second half. The thing is, though, if you think back to the Portugal side that won the Euros, Matt, that they were a quite boring team, but they were just huge. Well, they were, but they were hugely. Look, if you're
boring
Portuguese,
winning Euros.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If you're Portuguese, it's not boring to win trophies, but at the same time, for a neutral watching the games, it wasn't as though they were playing, I don't know, like a vintage Spain or a vintage Brazil.
No, it wasn't as free-flowing, was it? It was a bit more regimented, organised. And look, there's more than one way to achieve something, isn't there?
Yeah.
And it would be boring if everyone had the same style, for sure. But when it comes to this particular match, I was looking at how different the attributes are of both teams and thinking, oh, this could actually be a really exciting game. But it hasn't been that. It's been quite cagey, standoffish, and neither team has really committed fully in terms of really damaging the opponent in terms of attacking play, being forceful, being aggressive with their decision making. It's all been a little bit in front of each other, and I think that's the one thing that you could see. It could be a completely different second 45 minutes of football, which, from a spectator point of view, I think that that would be a positive thing.
Yeah, what we're hoping is that these are just two sides playing themselves into this competition, and there is still time for this to be a better second half. 45 minutes for this game to redeem itself. Matt Upson and Ian Dennis will be back for commentary of the second half from the 974 Stadium. It's Portugal 0, Ghana 0 at half-time. We'll be looking ahead to our 7 o'clock kickoff, which is Brazil against Serbia, after the BBC News with Richard Foster.
Take the World Cup with you. Qatar 2022.
On BBC Sounds, this is BBC Radio 5 Live.
A review has found that agencies failed to protect a 5-year-old boy who was murdered because they'd not been sharing information. Logan Mwangi was killed by his mother, stepfather and a teenager at his home near Bridgend in South Wales in July last year. Downing Street insists Rishi Sunak is committed to bringing down immigration after record figures were published this morning. 500,000 more people entered Britain than left in the year to June. That's up from 173,000 the year before. The head of the RMT, Mick Lynch, says he's had a positive meeting with the new Transport Secretary Mark Harper, but he says rail strikes planned around Christmas will still go ahead. Ambulance bosses are warning that patients are dying or suffering harm every day because of delays outside hospitals in England. During the past week, nearly 3 in 10 ambulances were stuck in queues for at least half an hour. And Ukraine's energy minister says the country's electricity system is functioning as a single network again. Engineers are working to restore power to millions of people after Russia's latest missile attacks. That's the news. Ellie Brennan has the travel.
In the latest travel news, in West Yorkshire on the M1 southbound, there's a lane closed before junction 41 for Cargate. There's a broken down vehicle there and traffic is queuing back for 3 miles to junction 43. It's added about 10 or 15 minutes to your journey currently. In Cheshire on the M6 northbound, there's queuing traffic from junction 21A at the Croft interchange to 22. There was a broken down vehicle there earlier. It has been cleared now, but congestion still back to the M6 at junction 20. That's the Lim interchange. Delays of about half an hour. On the M1 northbound, one lane is blocked at junction 29 for Chesterfield because of an accident. Congestion is back to Tibshelf services, so expect delays there. And on the M25 clockwise, there's a lane closed after junction 17 for Maple Cross because of an accident. Congestion is back to the M40 interchange at junction 16. Ellie Brennan, 5 Live Travel.
For 7 decades,
Thousands of songs.
have soundtracked the lives of generations of us.
But there's only ever been
One official countdown.
marking the 70th birthday of the UK's official singles chart.
We're playing the most streamed number ones.
From 1952 to 2022.
That's 7 playlists bursting with hits. Compiled by the official charts company exclusively for BBC Sounds. The UK's official most streamed songs.
To listen, open BBC Sounds, tap music.
And play most streamed chart.
BBC 5 Live.
The FIFA World Cup, Qatar 2022 with Kelly Cates.
It's half-time between Portugal and Ghana. That one is goalless, and there is plenty of room for improvement in that match in the second half. We'll be back there very shortly with Matthew Upson and Ian Dennis at the 974 Stadium. And once that game finishes, our focus will be at the Lusail Stadium, where the 5-time world champions Brazil kick off their Group G campaign against Serbia. Your commentary team for this one, Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton. They join us now. Get there okay, Ali?
Struggled a little, Kelly. So I was doing the driving. Chris, rather unhelpfully, was sitting in the back seat sniping away, and I missed a couple of turns and a couple of signs. And at one point, Chris claimed I made the worst decision since Ricky Ponting put England into bat at Edgbaston in the Test series in 2005. So we're here, Kelly. That's the main thing. We're here. I actually bumped into Martin Keown, who's doing the game for BBC Television this evening, and he said it was a bit like trying to get to Villa Park, and then we've got inside the stadium. It doesn't remind me much of Villa Park, I have to say, but I think he was talking more about trying to get there. But no, very, very excited about this. The last two teams to get their World Cups underway. Kelly, I actually wanted to ask you a question. If I say to you, Brazil World Cup, what's the first thing that comes into your head?
Pele.
Chris?
Yeah.
Who did I say?
You said Carlos Alberto. You see, I would say Socrates and Falcao in 1982, and actually a defeat against
and Zico is the other one,
and Eder.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean, Kelly? They've got that relationship, haven't they, with the World Cup? They've played in every single one. That everyone listening to us this evening, there's that little bit of magic, isn't there, about Brazil?
Everyone has a Brazil generation that is their generation, their magic, isn't it?
Exactly. And Chris chose, the goal in 1970, which tells you everything.
Wasn't quite born there, then. That's true. Dion may have been. Dion?
Yeah. Chris
I was 41.
Chris clearly got a World Cup goals VHS for Christmas when he was a young boy.
Well.
Listen, I'm very glad that, Ali, that you all managed to get there safely, because, of course, you had precious cargo in your car. Chris has gone viral in Japan.
Well, Ali, are you answering that?
Oh, I thought we had. Hang on. I thought we could hear that. I thought we could hear that Chris was going viral in Japan. Can we hear that? No. The short answer to that is no. No, we can't. And so, in which case, Alistair Bruce Ball, if you could provide me with the description of Chris, because you were there, because you two don't go anywhere without each other.
So I was asked to film this. So, Chris, I mean, you can talk the listeners through it as well. Basically, you predicted, in your predictions column on the BBC Sport website, you went for your one real shock in the opening round of games.
Shock to me, Bruce,
okay, fine, but you went for Japan to beat Germany, got it correct, got the scoreline correct, and Japanese television got in touch today, and I stood there and filmed a sort of 25-minute interview. I think you were on Asahi TV, and these guys
which is big in Japan.
These guys clearly over there think you are the oracle of all things football. He was asking you for predictions on the next game and the game after, and what might happen in the last 16, and then what will happen in the quarterfinals.
They're going to be so disappointed. I was like Mystic all clicks in the final third for Brazil. They can wipe the floor with anybody.
Back to the Lusail Stadium very shortly. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff for Brazil against Serbia. We'll be building up to it from full time in the match at the 974 Stadium, where they're about to get underway for the second half with the score line at Portugal 0, Ghana 0. Your commentary team, Matthew Upson and Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Kelly. And the first thing to say is that neither side has made a change here for the start of the second half. So these are the two teams. Diogo Costa is in goal for Portugal. It's a back four of Cancelo, Daniel Pereira, Ruben Dias and Rafael Guerreiro. And then you've got a midfield of Neves, Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, Otavio, Cristiano Ronaldo and João Felix. Red and green shirts, green shorts. Second half will be playing from right to left as we look against the Ghana side, who are all in white, with Atizigi in goal. A back three of Daniel Amate, Alexander Ziku, Mohamed Salisu, with Seydou and Rahman as the wing backs. Abdul Samed and Thomas Partey in the centre of midfield, and then Kudus, Andre Ayew and Inaki Williams up front. And so, with Ghana playing from left to right, a point would certainly be an ideal scoreline as far as they are concerned. The lowest ranked side competing here at the World Cup against a Portugal side that would probably have high hopes of going a long way in the competition. But after it finished earlier, Uruguay 0, South Korea 0, the opportunity for both sides to get a win on the board and go to the top of the group is there. However, neither side has been able to take it so far, Matt Upson.
No, and it started in this second half in very similar fashion and very similar tempo to the first.
Otavio runs forward on the left-hand side and his ball just runs out of play. He was being leaned into by Thomas Partey, who'd tracked the run from midfield. It'll be a goal kick, and they knock it short. Just going to the left for Salisu, the Southampton defender, 15 appearances down on the south coast in the Premier League this season. Trying to play out from the back. There's the press from Portugal. Salisu's ball strikes the head of Bernardo Silva, who waits for it to come under control on the edge of the Ghanaian penalty area. Bruno Fernandes then tries to slide it in, but breaking it up was Abdul Samed. At times Ghana have given the ball away rather cheaply.
But they're playing short every time. I mean, there's a man, when the goalkeeper has the ball for a goal kick, there's a player literally inside the 6-yard box, and there's two other players deeper the 18-yard box. So you think that they're playing it on top of themselves, and they've got to try and play through Portugal. And a lot of the times they're going long, but just like that there with Salisu, it was a poor pass, wasn't it? And all of a sudden they're putting themselves right in trouble, right on the edge of their own 18-yard box.
João Felix to Ruben Neves, central position midway through the Ghana half. Ball played out towards Cancelo. That's a good challenge coming in though from Baba Rahman, and he stops and then waits and then plays the ball back to Salisu from that far side, and Salisu will switch play. Amate, who's been a really influential figure in the latter stages for Leicester City before the break in the World Cup. Bit of a regular, actually started 6 of the last 7 for Leicester City, with a little bit of a revival at the King Power. And now Ghana play the ball out of defence, and that's a clear foul by Otavio, just pulling back at Seydou, who looks towards the American referee and says, "Where's the yellow card?"
There should be a yellow card, no doubt about it. Goes past him, Seydou, and Otavio just puts his hands round his shoulder and just pulls him, spins him to the floor, pulls him back. It's a clear yellow card.
Ball out to that far side, swept forward. Andre Ayew looked a suspicion of offside, but rolling away from him was Ruben Dias. Good defending from the Manchester City player, and then in his eagerness to get the ball back, in fact it was a Ghanaian sandwich. It was a combination of Thomas Partey and Andre Ayew catching Otavio, who actually it was Andre Ayew from behind, and then he was caught at the front by Thomas Partey, but it was Thomas Partey who was shown the yellow card.
Well, that one was a yellow card for sure. Just smashes into the back of the calf of Otavio, and Andre Ayew now actually sitting on the floor. I don't know if he's hurt himself in that tackle. Actually, he looks to be the player that's come out worse.
Well, at least he's back to his feet. but the yellow card it'll be joining Mohamed Kudus in the notebook of the American referee Ismail El Fath. And bearing in mind, we've only been playing for 4 minutes into the second half. Portugal are going to be making a change. Now, I can see down below that it's going to be William Carvalho who's going to be coming on. I always find it strange, particularly now that you can make a substitution at half-time that wouldn't necessarily count in one of your 3 options in play to make a substitution, why you would make it so early.
Well, sometimes there's something you've seen, or there might be some kind of injury or a knock, and I think once they get into the second half they feel, well, having 3 intervals to make a substitution is more than enough, and that's fine. I know what you mean. If you know it's going to happen, then why wouldn't you change at half time? But maybe there's something that's been spotted in this opening 5 minutes or so of the second half to change their mind.
We're going to see the introduction of the velvet tank, William Carvalho, who didn't make any appearances in qualifying, but he returned to play in the playoffs, and as a result he's seen his international career revived. In fact, I noticed on our little screen we thought the yellow card had gone to Thomas Partey. They're saying that it was Andre Ayew that was shown the yellow card, which I actually thought that to my naked eye. So Ayew was the player booked and not Thomas Partey.
Yeah, it was Ayew that kicked straight through the back of Otavio, wasn't it? Yeah, for sure. The velvet tank.
That's what he's known as.
Really?
Kudus out to Inaki Williams, tall and lean, left hand side. Little back heel didn't come off. It was read well by Ruben Neves on the right side of his penalty area. Neves now gets the return ball, although his pass across the penalty area has been intercepted by Aliou Seydou, the right wing back for Ghana, still goalless. BBC Radio 5 Live, and Seydou goes on the outside now of Guerrero towards the byline. Seydou with the cross. Arriving on that far side was Rahman. The ball seemed to ride up his chest, and the referee has said there must have been a touch of a handball because it's a free kick to Portugal on the edge of the area. As well as 5 Live and BBC Sounds, we're also on BBC World Service, going live across Africa as Ghana hope to be the first African side at this World Cup in Qatar to score a goal, because so far the 5th attempt they've drawn a blank. 0-0, but it's Portugal on the attack, and it's Ronaldo runs straight into Daniel Amate. Header away then by Partey as Portugal try to come again. Neves plays the ball out towards Cancelo, far side the right, runs forward, comes on the inside of Kudus, no foul. Kudus of course has been booked, and all of a sudden there could be a break on now, because bringing the ball away is Abdul Samet, and the ball goes out wide now towards Kudus. Andre Ayew making a run in towards the penalty area. Abdul Samet plays the ball towards Kudus, left-hand side of the penalty area, 2-weight in the penalty box, and still Portugal complaining about what they thought was a clear free kick at the other end, as the ball is headed behind by Cancelo for a corner kick to Ghana, still 0-0.
Well, the referee was in a great position to make that decision, allow play to go on, and if anything, I don't think Ghana really went at Portugal in that situation. They were quite happy just to keep the ball wide on the left-hand side. Kudus laid it back in and just kind of strolled a little bit. There wasn't a lot of energy in to think, right, we're going to go and score.
Yes.
Did it feel like that to you? No real threat to the goal at all.
There was a lack of conviction.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost like we're happy just to get the ball up the field in the flanks, and I don't know, we'll just see what happens.
Well, they've got a corner kick. Let's see what happens from this corner. They're all in white. They're playing from left to right. Far side the left. Rahman to take it. It's an outswinger over the head of Salisu. Crowded penalty area. It was Otavio who got the header away on the edge of the box, and as it's fired in from distance, it's pulled well wide from Seydou, and it's a quick goal kick taken by Costa, the Portuguese keeper, downfield. This is going to bring the... well, we've had 1-0 to Switzerland against Cameroon, Uruguay 0, South Korea 0. We'll be hoping for a goal fest for Brazil against Serbia at 7 with Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton. And a reminder, you can watch that game because it's live on BBC television with the 5 Live commentary if you just look for World Cup Extra on the BBC iPlayer. But it's still 0-0 here in Stadium 974. And a free kick will go in favour of Ghana as Andre Ayew was fouled.
I mean, if anything, I'd say that Ghana look a little bit more in this second half so far. They've posing a few more questions. It's been a little bit more open as opposed to the game just being played in that middle third all the time. And a couple of times they've just tried to get in behind, or they've had a little breakaway.
Otavio wins the ball, plays it forward now to Ronaldo. Ronaldo enters the penalty area. A couple of step-overs from Ronaldo. The angle is tight with a cross charge down. Headed away then, and then one back and played neatly with a sharp little turn by Seydou to Partey. To Kudus, turns midway through his own half and now accelerates, and he leaves Neves away, left in his wake, and now cuts back across Neves, who tries to get back at him, and Kudus with a shot low, left-footed on the edge of the area, just wide. What a run from this exciting player, Mohamed Kudus. That wasn't too far away. Neves couldn't keep up with him, and it was a low left-footed shot, the best attack from Ghana by Shaw, and it was, I don't know, about a foot wide, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's moves like that that's worth the entry fee to the stadium, isn't it? That's what you come to watch football for, those kind of moments. Brilliant piece of individual play from Kudus. Touched on him in the first half about how quickly and sharply he can spin an opponent. And I think it was Neves, wasn't it? He tried to get tight to him. He just left him for dead, didn't he? The sharpness in which he swivels with the ball. It's absolutely brilliant. Drives with it as well, put it onto his left foot. He just slightly dragged the effort just a tiny bit, but lovely passage of play. The match needed it. It needs something like that, doesn't it? There's not been enough of that kind of quality in this game.
Well, whilst Matt Upson has been talking, Otavio has been getting some treatment for a calf injury, and it's probably the substitution that was always likely to happen anyway, because we'd said that William Carvalho was waiting to come on. He plays his football now at Real Betis, doing ever so well in Spain, and he comes on for his 77th cap, William Carvalho. So he will go alongside, I would imagine, Neves, because that's the type of position that he plays, unless Neves might give him more licence to get forward, because certainly Otavio has been playing in a more advanced role than William Carvalho, and that was the change being made with that first substitution in the 56th minute.
Is it Fernandes as well, just pushing up to the front three then, and we might stay with two. It's very hard to tell with Portugal sometimes, isn't it, how their kind of front four or five are playing. They never really seem to be sat in position. They just pick up loads of different areas on the pitch, but obviously Fernandes and Bernardo Silva are the two real playmakers that want to get on the ball in and around that midfield area.
They've laboured though, haven't they?
Yeah, it's not been kind of bright and punchy, has it, at all? It's been really quite slow, not enough energy to cause Ghana any real consistent problems at all. It's been a bit disappointing.
Just had a third yellow card shown, and that was to Alidou Seydou, and now João Felix has gone down as well, and Daniel Amati is telling Seydou to go away. Now, I didn't know what happened there, but Seydou is clearly incensed with the yellow card, and Seydou and João Felix came together. Now, for me, João Felix has put his head in the direction of Seydou, but there then was a motion from Seydou, and he needs to calm down. We're yet to have a red card so far in this World Cup. VAR would naturally be having a look at something like that if they thought it would constitute violent conduct, and João Felix has certainly gone down.
He could be in a little bit of trouble here. I mean, I think it's a squaring up, and João Felix is as much committed to that as anyone, but then there is just like a nudge of the head, isn't there, towards him from Seydou, and whether or not the referee wants to take any extreme action here.
Well, the referee's coming under pressure from the Portugal players. Yeah. They want action to be taken. Thomas Partey and Daniel Amati are trying to be peacemakers there. There really is a strong talking to for the referee. I've got to say, I thought that João Felix initiated it.
He did.
But then once Seydou has pushed his head forward, there was some sort of emotion there. That could easily have been a second yellow card, resulting in a red.
Yeah, I mean, he just like pushes his head down his face on his nose, his forehead to the nose. I mean, I'm not sure if there's enough contact there for João Felix to sit on the floor for 5 minutes.
No.
And I think he's made a lot of that, considering that he initiated the actual touching of the heads in terms of squaring up.
Yeah.
So I think that's relatively well managed by the referee.
If your England teammate Wayne Rooney is listening to 5 Live, he'll be thinking back to, 2006, and saying, Portuguese players can get players sent off, Matt.
They can go down a little bit easy.
We're just short of the hour. You're listening to 5 Live and BBC Sounds, and it's still 0-0. Carvalho, the substitute for Portugal, just outside the centre circle, long ball, and it goes all the way out for a goal kick. Just haven't really settled into any sort of a rhythm as yet this second half for Portugal. You think that England did well, 6 goals in their opening game. How will they fare tomorrow as they take on the United States? We've got Wales against Iran in our first game of 4 more live games. Mark Chapman with all the build-up from 9 o'clock ahead of Wales-Iran. That's a 10 o'clock kickoff. England, the United States. Oh, that's a poor ball out of the back. Straight towards Bernardo Silva. Gave it towards Bruno Fernandes on the edge of the area. He didn't seem to be expecting the ball. Side onto goal. Back towards Bernardo Silva on that right-hand side, and they've regrouped Ghana, trying to now keep at bay Portugal, and they will survive as they bring the ball clear. Abdul Samad, that was certainly one where they got away from a loose and errant ball out from defence. Bernardo Silva, checked by Salisu, was he? No foul, says the referee, and a free kick. But Portugal have started slowly. Belgium were very fortunate against Canada last night. You think of the 6 goals England have scored. France and Spain have certainly laid down a marker. Portugal at the moment are struggling.
I mean, Ghana just need to stop this short pass from a goal kick. They're going to land themselves in trouble. That pass there from Amati was so poor, but I counted 4 Ghana players in their own 18-yard box from a goal kick. I mean, you're literally trying to play possession football in your own penalty box with Portugal just ready to press. You're just inviting that problem. And I think that they are technically a decent team, Ghana, but there's areas of the pitch where you want to play, and you don't want to be doing that, time after time. They're far better off getting the ball into the midfield or trying to get the ball higher up the pitch and use some of the pace they have in wide areas.
Matt Upson with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live. We've got 29 minutes remaining. Brazil, Serbia to come, the 7 o'clock kickoff. Next on the conveyor belt of live football on BBC Radio 5 Live. As Ghana are preparing to make a double change. Brighton's Tariq Lamptey, who actually made his debut against Brazil in Le Havre in France in September, and coming on for what would just be his 3rd appearance for Ghana. Only as recently as March he was playing for in the England setup for the under-21s. And the other player who's going to be coming on is Osman Bukhari, who plays for Red Star Belgrade. He's a forward. He's actually had a good season in Serbia, 7 goals in 15 appearances. So they are the 2 changes that Otto Addo will be preparing to make, as the little flick from João Felix goes into the path of Cristiano Ronaldo, who goes down, and the referee, without any hesitation, awards a penalty. Ghana protest, and Cristiano Ronaldo has won a penalty for Portugal. It was the challenge with Salisu. Oh, he goes down far too easily.
He dives. It looks like a dive to me. There's a small bit of contact. But Deno, what do you think of that in terms of, there's not enough contact there to knock him down, is there? Surely.
There's a nudge. There is a nudge from Salisu, but he makes the most of it. Let's put it this way. Ronaldo, if this is awarded from VAR, has won the penalty. With no question. No question whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, the thought running through my head when I saw Salisu come over, I thought to myself, don't bite on it. Just don't commit. Don't put that foot out. Just marshal him out wide. He does put his foot out, which allows Ronaldo to take that contact and go over. But for me, there's nowhere near enough contact to knock him to the floor. And like you said, he's kind of bought that penalty.
Cristiano Ronaldo is one of 4 players to have scored in 4 World Cups. Pele, Uwe Seeler and Miroslav Klose. No player has found the net in 5 editions. He's placed the ball on the spot. One can only imagine that the VAR official Armando Villarreal has looked at that and is happy with the decision that has been made by the American referee Ismail Elfath. He last missed for Portugal against Ireland in September 2021. But his penalty record in his career, he's scored 145, he's only missed 29. That tells you everything about the task that now faces Lawrence Atizigi, the Ghanaian goalkeeper. He looks to the sky, the dark skies of Doha. Cristiano Ronaldo with a straight run-up. We're looking away. Starting a record-equalling 5th World Cup, could create a little bit of history all of his own. He waits for the referee's whistle. He's looking towards his left. He now begins a stuttering run-up. Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't miss. Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't miss. He runs away. There is the trademark celebration. The boom echoes around Stadium 974. And Cristiano Ronaldo from the penalty spot creates history. The first player to score in 5 World Cups with his 118th goal. Football's greatest ever international football scorer has given Portugal the lead.
Well, I was in this stadium 2 evenings ago to watch Robert Lewandowski miss his penalty, and his facial expression, Lewandowski, when he took that, was one of a little bit of concern. I looked at Ronaldo's face before that penalty. He just blew his cheeks out and just stepped up. The look on his face, the facial expression was all confidence, and he smashes it high to his left-hand side. The goalkeeper's right. Really clinical, confident penalty. I don't like the way that he won it. No. I think that it's such a dubious call. There was contact because Salazar dangled his leg, but Ronaldo knew exactly what he was doing. He saw it there, slight nudge, and he was down. But this is the game. He's won the penalty for Portugal, and he certainly has put it away nicely.
And he certainly enjoyed the celebrations. The keeper did dive to his right, but it was too powerful. It was ahead of him. And in the meantime, Ghana were waiting to make a double change. They have replaced the right wing-back Alidou Seydou. Tariq Lamptey of Brighton and Hove Albion comes on to make his World Cup debut for just his 3rd appearance for Ghana. And at the time being, we haven't seen Bukhari come on just as yet, so they've just made the one change, Ghana. But you're right, Matt, he certainly made the most of it, as Ghana now have got to look for an equaliser. Inaki Williams' shot from distance loops up in the air and caught by the goalkeeper, Diego Costa. Well, if Ronaldo dominated the headlines in the build-up to this game, he's going to grab the headlines after, it would seem, because he has now the first player to score in 5 World Cups. And it's his name, Cristiano Ronaldo, that is being sung inside this stadium, echoing its way around this 40,000 capacity ground. 1-0 to Portugal, and Salazar was the player who made the challenge.
He almost took the bait, didn't he?
Yeah.
As he was coming across there, I was just thinking, don't put that foot out there, just usher him wide, don't try and win that ball. The moment he just takes that little lungy step to try and make contact with the ball, he was over, and that was that. But let's just see how Ghana deal with this, whether they change their tack, whether they come out a little bit more, throw a few more players forward. They've got Tariq Lamptey on now on this right-hand side, who can be very exciting in that right wing-back position.
It also, for Cristiano Ronaldo, takes him to within 1 of the great Eusebio for his 9 goals scored in a World Cup for Portugal. The only thing about Cristiano Ronaldo's record of 8 now at the World Cup is that they've all been in the group stages. He's yet to score in the knockout stages, as Partey shoots from long distance and it goes over the top and out for a goal kick. No goals in 6 in the knockout stages for Portugal, whereas for Eusebio, he's scored 6 of his 9 in the knockout stages. But Ronaldo, who kissed the ball as he placed it down on the spot, I mean, that record alone, 146 successful conversions from penalties in his entire career, and he's missed just 29. I mean, the figures are staggering for Cristiano Ronaldo.
You know, you look at his goal figures; they're like most people's appearances, aren't they?
Yeah,
it's just unbelievable.
Yeah,
the goals that he scored. You know, not just for his country, but at club level as well. It's just madness, really.
Yeah. Well, certainly when you look from a Portugal point of view, you know, you've got Bruno Fernandes, who I think is third on the list with 11, and then you've got Andre Silva second with 19, and something tells me that they might not catch Ronaldo now, leading the way on 118. 1-0 to Portugal. At least it's not another goalless draw.
No, we've had a goal, and let's see how Ghana deal with it, whether or not they'll come out and be a little bit more adventurous. Like I said, they've been very solid and very patient, haven't they? But when they've had an opportunity to go forward, they've not really thrown the kitchen sink at it. You know, they've not really gone at it, and whether or not that goal will change that approach or not, we'll have to see.
Well, they haven't won their opening fixture in the last 3 World Cups since 1-0 against Angola in 2006. They drew against the Ivory Coast in 2010. Lost to Germany in 2014, and then in Sochi, when Ronaldo incidentally scored a hat-trick, that thrilling 3-3 draw against Spain in Russia 4 years ago. Here they lead by a 0-0, and just about 20 minutes of normal time remain, and Portugal are 1-0 up. And for Ghana, whose next game is on Monday against South Korea, and they finish off against Uruguay a week tomorrow. They haven't really done enough to trouble Portugal. They only had that breakaway earlier in the second half, that good run from Kudus, as the ball is headed forward by Carvalho to Ronaldo, who quickly turns and helps it on its way towards João Felix. Salisu was tidying up with the back pass to Atizigi, the goalkeeper. 19 more minutes remaining of normal time.
He's not been that effective in this game, has he, João Felix?
No.
You know, like, little moments like that. Like he's quite a specific type of player, because he's not pacey or powerful, is he? He's a very good technician. He's a clever player, but they've got quite a lot of players that are a little bit similar, aren't they? Portugal. Whether or not you see that today, that they haven't quite got that variety on how they're going to penetrate teams and hurt them with you know, different elements of their game. They're all very good technicians, great having the ball to feet, but sometimes that spacing behind can be exploited.
Well, at the minute they're doing just enough through that penalty of Cristiano Ronaldo, but now it's Ghana coming forward, and the shot from distance was really struck by Kudus. He really got his left foot behind that, and in the end that warmed the hands of Costa, the Portuguese goalkeeper. That must have been a good 30 yards out.
I mean, we had a lot of chat around him before the game.
Well, certainly he can play further forward, and here he is now, inside left channel. Andre Ayew! Ghana have equalised! Kudus made the run into inside left channel, and quick as a flash, he cut the ball back from the byline, and Andre Ayew, the captain for Ghana, pounced from close range, and out of nothing, Ghana have equalised with 17 minutes remaining. Portugal pegged back 1-1.
Well, look at those Ghanaian fans behind the goal. It's right in front of their supporters. They are going berserk. Absolutely loving it. And it's that man, Kudus, who's just singing his praises about how good he's been in this game. 2 or 3 moments. Well, here's a fourth one. The ball comes to him. He's just stayed high up the pitch. He has a touch, but it's a really good cross with his left foot. He just puts the ball into a great area. It skims right through the legs of Danilo Pereira. He'll be really disappointed with that, but in all credit to Andre Ayew, he just gets himself right in the heart of the 6-yard box. He's gambling, he's anticipating that ball to come through. Yes, it worms through a set of legs, but it ends up in that area of the pitch, and he's there just to side foot it home from about 4 yards out. Massive moment for Ghana, and right in front of their supporters.
Andre Ayew, the captain for Ghana, made his debut back in the days of Claude Loire in 2007. His 110th cap, He's just scored his 24th goal, and what a vital goal it is, because it gives Ghana, could give them a precious point, although they're on the attack again. Kudus has been terrific. We said before he's been that creative spark. We talked about maybe playing him forward. I've seen him play for Ajax in more of an advanced role, and that's exactly what he did, and he made it happen. And Andre Ayew benefited from close range. The former player of West Ham and Swansea City, now at 32 years of age. And that will have wiped off the smile of Ronaldo, who now will try and do something for himself at the other end of the pitch, the other 30-something down there below. But Ghana, to their credit, took the goal very, very well. And what was the difference? 8 minutes they took them to respond, to level matters. They'll be dancing down Oxford Street in Accra. Lizzie's Bar will be absolutely jumping at 1-1 with that goal from Andre Ayew. And I'm sure wherever you're listening across the world service, across Africa, to our commentary here on BBC Radio 5 Live, Ghana have just scored the first goal of an African side at this World Cup, at the 5th time of asking. Senegal, Tunisia, Morocco and Cameroon all drew blanks. Ghana have provided the first goal for Africa, 1-1.
I think you've been a little bit of a secret Ghana fan this evening, Deno.
No.
I actually don't even know if it's been secret.
Impartial as ever.
Yeah. You've got a real love for Ghana, haven't you? Having been there quite a bit, haven't you? Spent a bit of time there.
I did spend a little bit of time there in the African nations in 2008. 4 weeks.
Lizzie's Bar?
Actually, no. As the cross comes in, it's a long cross as well over the head of João Felix. But I did spend my time on Oxford Street quite a bit.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Nice culture, huh?
Yeah. A little bit of plantain to start the morning.
Oh.
There's going to be a lot of changes being made. So Bakari is going to be coming on for Ghana. They're also going to be bringing on Jordan Ayew. Is Kudus the player who's going off?
Yeah, taking him off.
That's a surprise, is it not?
Very much so.
So this is the second opportunity of substitutions for Ghana. They're going to make a double change. So it's Osman Bukhari who's coming off for Mohamed Kudus, and Andre Ayew, the goal scorer, hands the captain's armband to Thomas Partey, and he will be replaced by Jordan Ayew. The sons of the great Abedi Pele swap and trade places on that playing surface, and there is an acknowledgement to the crowd from Andre Ayew, and then there is a hug from his coach Otto Addo. And Portugal have also made a change, and Rafael Leao is the player who's coming on, and it's Ruben Neves who has gone off. So that's very much an
his team needs in that front three. I mean, he's so explosive and pacey, very different to what they have, and I just think at times it's been a little bit easy.
ball play forward. This is with João Felix. What a finish that was from João Felix. João Felix with a composed finish, clips it past the goalkeeper, Atazigi, and Portugal are back in front. Portugal 2, Ghana 1.
Well, it all comes from a mistake with the through ball. It's a poor goal for Ghana to concede. They've been concentrated and focused so well in this game so far. Thomas Partey chips one up the pitch. The ball turns over, it goes into midfield, and all of a sudden João Felix is pulling away. I think it's Baba Raymond just gets his body shape horribly wrong, turns his back on the ball. He should cut the pass out, but because he's not facing the right way, it skips through his legs. His body shape is all wrong, and João Felix is just through one-on-one with the goalkeeper, slots it home. Lovely finish, really composed, just lifts it over Atazigi. But Baba Raymond's positioning, I mean, it's been bang on all game, but he just gets that horribly wrong, and they really do get punished.
It was a lovely diagonal finish with the right foot of João Felix, just clipping it off the advancing goalkeeper Atazigi. And Ghana's joy lasted about 5 minutes as Portugal are back in front live on BBC Radio 5 Live with just over 10 minutes remaining. And in fact, I think Andre Ayew still hadn't taken to his position after being substituted, with the look of dismay as he looked across onto the pitch to see that Ghana had given the ball away and punished by Portugal, who were back in front.
I mean, there's a look of dismay on Otto Addo as well in the technical area. You know, he's just made those switches thinking, right, we'll cut out, and it wasn't. But you've got quality like João Felix, really good technical player.
They've just been caught again in the middle of the park by Jordan Ayew, and it's Bruno Fernandes now running forward. Bruno Fernandes, and the ball comes in, and Portugal has just backed another one. Portugal, through Rafael Leão, first time finish right-footed, guides the ball into that far right-hand side to score his first goal for his country, and surely secure the 3 points for Portugal, who now lead Ghana by 3-1, and Ghana are falling apart.
Well, it's just an unbelievable collapse, isn't it? From how well they've done all the way up to now, to concede 2 goals like that, such a disappointment. This one has a bit more quality. There's more that Portugal have to do here, but they lose the ball in the middle of the park again. 1 or 2 players, and this is the difference here. Leao's come on the pitch. He's got the ability and the power to run past players, timed pass to perfection into his path, and it's a really good finish with his right foot.
Bruno Fernandes with the assist. Rafael Leão, who's been linked with moves to Chelsea and Manchester United, just about, I think, had stayed onside, although he did have a little glance across towards the assistant referee. VAR will be imagining having a look, but now they've got the 2-goal cushion and they're happy with the goal.
Very tight.
2 goals in the space of 2 minutes.
Very tight offside shout, wasn't it? But I think he was just about on. But you see what he brings. He's got that pace, hasn't he? The ability to get up with play quickly. It's a lovely weighted pass. I think it was Bruno Fernandes, wasn't it, with the pass?
Yes, it was.
Really good ball, just into his path. Lovely, opened his body out really nice with his right foot and just guided that ball around the goalkeeper into the far post. Lovely finish.
But again, Ghana guilty of giving the ball away as they've lost it once more. Got to try and rediscover a little bit of discipline here, have Ghana. Wouldn't want to concede any more goals with under 9 minutes of normal time remaining. But you would think, because of what is left, Portugal now will be going to the top of Group H, after earlier it had finished Uruguay 0, South Korea 0. The attendance, 42,662. I'd said before about the capacity being at 40,000. FIFA, of course, have revised all the capacities now, although there's still many empty seats. I'm not necessarily convinced that necessarily is the case.
So what is the capacity here?
They've revised them all. I saved them, I'll be able to tell you.
Oh, okay. Because I thought it was 40. I was told it was 40,000, but it doesn't look like a 40,000 seater. It looks more, doesn't it?
Yeah. They've, as well as the amount of added on time, and they've changed all the capacities as well, as Portugal are breaking forward, and it's Ronaldo. Ronaldo is away. Ronaldo into the penalty area. Very good save by the goalkeeper. Ronaldo just tried to dink it over the top. The flag's up on the far side anyway, but Adizigi with a strong right arm. The revised attendance capacity now is 44,089.
Okay.
But still doesn't explain the empty seats.
No, it doesn't. If there's 42,000 in here, then it looks like more than 2,000 empty seats.
That would have
anyway.
That would have levelled him with Eusebio for Portugal's leading goal scorer at World Cup finals. Portugal, Portugal is the chant inside Stadium 974, where Portugal lead by 3-1. It's a thunderous chant as well here, as Carvalho spreads the ball out wide. And it's with João Felix, who tries to come on the inside of Salisu. Salisu wins the challenge towards Jordan Ayew. Portugal are wanting to make a change. João Mario wants to come on as well. And they're also going to be bringing on Gonçalo Ramos, who's the latest one off the Benfica conveyor belt. He actually scored within 15 minutes on his debut against Nigeria last week in the warm-up game, so they're wanting to make a double change. It'll be the final changes for Fernando Santos, leading by 3-1 here at this World Cup.
I mean, it's been such a bizarre turn of events in this game, hasn't it? From one moment looking a little bit drab and not much going on, to all of a sudden there being quite a bit of action and goals, and Ghana really have kind of just let their guard slip a little bit. It's turned into a little bit more of the game that you'd expected, a little bit more to it and throwing, a bit more higher octane, punchier play from Ghana and Portugal, actually, and it's actually been quite entertaining the last 15-20 minutes.
But they do leave themselves exposed as they go in search of more goals, and that's been their undoing, really, with giving the ball away. It's going to be a triple change, incidentally. João Palhinha of Fulham is also going to be coming on. I would imagine that Fernando Santos, with a quick turnaround of the schedule, playing Uruguay on Monday, he'll want to try and keep some legs fresh for that next match day 2 in Group H. As here is Bruno Fernandes for Portugal, who lead 3-1. He takes a little tumble. João Felix was looking for the run of Ronaldo, who was through the middle, and though it was cut out, he still put his hand in the air to acknowledge that attempted forward ball from João Felix. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got Wales-Iran at 10, England, the United States at 7, part of our offering of all 4 live games on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. We mentioned Rick Edwards, part of the 5 Live breakfast team, of course, with Rachel Burden, and Rick will be joined in the morning at some stage by Ian Rush and Rob Green, as well as many supporters who've made the trip out to Qatar to give you a little flavour of the lengths they've gone to ahead of the next set of matches for the home nations. And certainly Wales will look to build on that second half performance against the United States. That's a 10 o'clock commentary tomorrow. Our coverage with Mark Chapman starts at 9. But don't go anywhere, because we've still got Brazil and Serbia to come, as Portugal's substitutions wait down below. Leao to Ronaldo. But Portugal, with under 4 minutes remaining, I think the scoreline flatters them to an extent.
Yeah, I do. I'd agree with that. I don't think it has been, you know, a scoreline of that difference, but there's just been a couple of situations where Ghana have lost that control, lost that focus, lost their shape a little bit. And the one thing Portugal have, they just got that quality, haven't they, that they will punish you. It would have been interesting if there hadn't been those lapses in concentration. You know, you'd be looking at a very different scoreline, but it's just those little moments that Portugal have that quality, and the finishes have been great, haven't they? João Felix one and Leao's finish was absolutely excellent.
And then we talked earlier about the strength and depth, and this is the reason why, because João Palhinha is going to be coming on. I'm going to watch that game before the Premier League finished against Manchester United. He really is a force of nature, extremely combative in the midfield. So he's coming on to replace Bernardo Silva. João Mario is coming on, and also Cristiano Ronaldo is departing. And that was the ovation and the cheer for Cristiano Ronaldo, who tonight has got his own piece of World Cup history, the first player to score in 5 World Cups. So João Felix, Ronaldo and Bernardo Silva make way for Paulinho, João Mario and Gonçalo Ramos. For this Portugal side that lead by 3-1 with 2 minutes remaining. Here is Guerreiro. Leao with a turn, challenged by Partey. Forward it goes, released out to this near side to...
Picking the ball out of the net, really, haven't they? I mean, it was so quickly they conceded once those substitutions were made, and they've just not really got back into the game since then.
On that far side, cross comes over, and the header It's planted in by Bukhari, and maybe Ghana aren't finished just yet. Cross from the left-hand side, and Bukhari from close range with the header. Cristiano Ronaldo is furious down below. Ghana, with 90 seconds of normal time remaining, have reduced the arrears. It's Portugal 3, Ghana 2.
I mean, I don't know really what to expect next in this game, to be honest. There's just goals coming out of nowhere. It's just a harmless ball down the channel on the left-hand side. I mean, it's a decent cross into the box and it's a good header, but how easy is that for Ghana just to flip the ball down the channel, gets there, crosses the ball, Bukhari arriving at the back post, heads it in, unmarked completely. It's almost like Portugal are statues at that moment, and it's a bizarre game, though, isn't it? Really weird.
It is. You wouldn't have seen 5 goals coming at half-time, that is for sure. And a free kick to Ghana, as there's a little bit of a reaction there. There was Inaki Williams has reacted to Danilo Pereira, who didn't need to fall away in the theatrical manner that he did, and now the two sets of players are squaring up to each other, and the American referee is going to have to get between them. He's got a yellow card in his hand. Inaki Williams is still going after Danilo Pereira, and the referee's saying, I want you to this side, you stay there. They're still having words of being exchanged as they move towards each other, and the referee brings them together, puts his arms over the shoulders of both the players and says, you come to me.
It's just nice to see both players now have shook hands and got on with it. That's what you want to see, isn't it? He's got the yellow card in his hand, ready to dish that out, but they've got over it. It's a bit of a spat. They've been having a bit of a battle for a lot of the game. He's just booked both of them. I mean, Danilo Pereira, yes, he goes in and he kind of drags him to the floor, but I think Williams is leaning back, but it's more the way he just holds him when he's on the floor, and Inaki Williams just reacts. It's not a lot, and I think there's a bit of play acting there from Danilo Pereira, which isn't nice to see.
Ghana want to make a double change. There are 9 minutes of added on time, which we're now into. Stephanie Frappart, the fourth official, has just put up a board. The free kick goes long. Ghana looking for a dramatic equaliser in the 9 minutes of stoppage time. And they're going to be bringing on Antoine Semenyo, the Bristol City forward. As party goes long, Ghana have committed a lot of players forward. Salisu was up there, but it came off his head last. And out it goes for a goal kick. And also Daniel Kofi Kaira, the midfielder, who plays for Freiburg, who've been doing well in Germany before the break in the Bundesliga. He's going to be coming on. But it's 3-2 to Portugal. So the changes that are being made now, first of all, the player to come off, it's going to be Semenyo who's going to be coming on, and it's Inaki Williams. So that is like for like there, striker for a striker. The Bristol City forward, he scored his first goal for Ghana last week against Switzerland. And then the other player to come off is Alexander Giku, the defender. So they're going to go to a flat back four for the closing stages here. We mentioned earlier that Portugal, who haven't won their opening game at a World Cup since 2006, they drew their opener in Russia in Sochi against Spain 3-3, could have a repeat scoreline if Ghana can fashion a late equaliser. We thought that Portugal were comfortable, not so. Can Ghana create something in the next 6 minutes or so? Ball played by Jordan Ayew, forward. Danilo Pereira with the cutout. Now Tariq Lamptey. Lamptey's cross just too far ahead of Semenyo, and out of play it goes for a goal kick.
It's a decent situation there as well for Ghana. It's not the best of balls from Lamptey. He's got better quality than that. Just to find that pass, he overhit it on the angle a little bit, but it was a little dangerous opportunity just opening up there for Ghana. And Portugal, very edgy going into these final stages of the game. They shouldn't be.
No, they shouldn't.
There's been some real sloppy play, some switching off, not just individually but collectively, both teams have, which has led us to this position.
Certainly there'll be some tense expressions on the Portuguese bench. They looked like they were home and hosed, at leading by 3-1, but still 6 minutes of normal time remain. They're on the attack. Bruno Fernandes goes to ground. That was the challenge coming in from Bukhari, who has set us up for this interesting finale here in Stadium 974 on BBC Radio 5 Live and the World Service across Africa. Free kick though to Portugal. Bruno Fernandes will leave it for Guerreiro, who was certainly found wanting when Boukari got that header. Didn't track the run whatsoever. It was a rather loose ball from Guerreiro again. He's given it away. And now it's picked up in the midfield by Jordan Ayew. Into towards the centre circle it goes. But unable to get there was Kyra in the midfield. And they work it out towards Leao. Shrugs off the challenge of Lamptey. Leao into the penalty area. Tried to pass the ball out towards João Mario. But Ghana's defence managed with the interception. Now the ball is chipped long by Boukari, looking for the run. In fact, it wasn't Inaki Williams who's come off. Williams must have come to the side. Who was it that came off for Inaki Williams? It was Zico and Abdul Samed were the two players who've gone off. So Inaki Williams has been joined by Semenyo, so they've gone two up top now, Ghana. Really throwing caution to the wind in these closing stages. And in fact, there is confirmation on the giant screen of that double change that Ghana had made. They lose the ball though on that far side to João Mario over the halfway line. Portugal lead by 3-2. Strong running, good strength, slips it on the inside. Palhinha switches play on the edge of the penalty area. It's controlled on this near side by Rafael Leao. The attempted cross though was blocked. I think the Portuguese bench wanted him to take it into the corner flag. Ghana though can't get it away. It's become very, very stretched, a little bit loose between both sides. Guerreiro running forward, Carvalho on the inside. Portugal lead by 3-2. Still 4 minutes of stoppage time remaining. And now at a walking pace, Bruno Fernandes is going to take it down and gets it out of play for a throw to Portugal, level with the Ghana penalty area.
Well, that's twice now the ball has come to the substitute Kiera for Ghana, and he's just not been good enough in having the ball. There's been a couple of great opportunities where he just gets his head up and finds the pass forward. They're on the counter-attack. I mean, it's quite open still, isn't it? Portugal haven't really shut this game down at all. It's still very open.
Bruno Fernandes has just been shown a yellow card by the American referee. Here he is, the Manchester United player. Guerreiro back towards him, and he's just volleyed the ball at a close proximity straight into the mush of Tariq Lamptey. He actually apologises and gives him a consoling pat on the cheek. I'm not necessarily sure after taking one full on in the face. That's the last thing that Tariq Lamptey wanted. Anyway, it's a throw for Portugal, eating up valuable seconds. Under 4 minutes remain. But they've given the ball away. They've won it back with Palhinha, taking it high on the chest. 4 white shirts prevent him from getting away into the penalty area. Then Ghana have given it away once more. It's very congested on this left-hand side level of the penalty area. Making the run forward is the substitute Gonçalo Ramos, who's only 21 years of age. Scored against Newcastle in pre-season and is actually being linked with Newcastle United for the young striker. And he's won a free kick as well for his efforts for Portugal down by the corner flag as they look to try and eat up valuable time. So it's going to be Fernandes, you would think, to take it. He's just having a little discussion with Guerreiro, who's walked away. In it comes. Goalkeeper's flapped at that one. He's pushed it out. Now to Thomas Partey. But Portugal had 3 players back in and around the halfway line to counter any counter-attack. But it has been played on that far side. Fernando Santos is hopping mad down below as Jordan Ayew wins a throw for Ghana deep inside the Portuguese half.
I know why he's hopping mad, because why has that ball been crossed into the box there?
Jordan Ayew! Oh. They took a quick throw, left-hand side, and he went for goal. And it was a dipping effort that certainly caused a little bit of consternation for Costa.
Well, that is exactly why Fernando Santos is absolutely fuming, because that is an opportunity on goal out of nothing. And Bruno Fernandes had the ball in the corner flag with a free kick to kill the game. He's crossed it straight into the box, and Ghana are on the counter-attack. Just play it short, keep possession, keep it in that area of the pitch. You don't need to cross the ball.
Like you say, though, it has been a rather strange game. But Portugal are almost there. 60 seconds remaining of stoppage time. Of course, it's always a minimum. We're then at the in the hands of Ismail El Fath. Wouldn't necessarily go as say as far as he was in the 2016 final when he was almost as a cheerleader Cristiano Ronaldo, but the fact that he's not sitting comfortably on the bench, he is a little animated, it's fair to say, in that technical area. He's not necessarily taking over from Fernando Santos, if you can recall what he was like with his histrionics when he'd been injured. At times he was more like a player manager in that final of Euro 2016, but it's Inaki Williams is there, he'll challenge the goalkeeper, and bearing in mind that Inaki Williams is running at him, Costa showed good concentration, good handling to catch the ball.
Well, I thought for a moment there Williams was going to really challenge him. He would have absolutely clattered him if he'd have competed for that ball, but the crossing wasn't of the best of quality.
The keeper's dropped the ball, he's lost it, Ghana tried to profit, Danilo Pereira clears it. The hands on the heads from Fernando Santos tells its own story, because Diogo Costa, almost with a real lapse of concentration, now to the other end, Rafael Leao. It's like back at jumpers for goalposts, back at school.
What is going on?
The bench were telling Costa to clear it long. He just threw it in front of him and didn't realise that Inaki Williams was behind him, and he almost cost his side very, very dear. But they have survived, they have escaped. Mayhem at the end. Ghana, when Portugal were leading by 3-1, they looked so comfortable. But Bakari's late goal gave Portugal a real scare when he headed in the 89th minute. And Ghana may well have wondered what could have been. As it is, Portugal have got away with one, and their first win at the opening game at a World Cup since 2006. They'll laugh about it later, but they weren't laughing about it at the time.